Welcome back today. Today, we're diving deep into the world of the most expensive U.S. wheat steel 1-cent coins ever sold, exploring jaw-dropping auction prices, fascinating history, and what makes these coins so incredibly valuable. So, let's get started. First up, the 1943 Abraham Lincoln wheat steel 1-cent large date without mint mark in lamination damage circulated condition holds one of the most fascinating stories in U.S. coinage history. To understand its significance, we have to go back to the year 1943, the middle of World War II. During this period, copper was a critical war material used for ammunition and military equipment. Because of that, the U.S. Mint decided to preserve copper for the war effort and produced the Lincoln cents using zinc-coated steel instead. These steel pennies were light gray in color and magnetic, quite different from the traditional copper cents Americans were used to seeing. The Philadelphia Mint struck these coins without any mint mark, making them distinct from their counterparts from Denver and San Francisco. The 1943 steel cent from Philadelphia had a huge mintage. Around 684,628,670 coins were produced. But even though that sounds like a large number, finding one in circulated condition with a significant lamination error and in collectible state is a real challenge. Lamination damage occurs when the metal surface of the coin begins to peel or flake due to impurities or bonding issues during the planche preparation process. This type of error gives the coin a very distinct appearance, often showing raised or missing sections of the metal on the surface. Collectors love these types of coins because they show the imperfections of the minting process and are considered a form of natural mint error, especially when found on historically important coins like the 1943 steel cent. Despite its massive production, the steel cent was not well received by the public. People complained that it rusted easily and could be mistaken for a dime because of its silver-like color. But over time, collectors realized that some of these coins contained unique features or minting errors, making them extremely valuable. In our case, the lamination damage adds great collector interest. Lamination errors are unpredictable and unique to each coin, so no two examples are ever the same. This coin, being a Philadelphia Mint issue without a mint mark, with large date and clear lamination damage visible on its surfaces, makes it one of the most desirable error steel cents on the market. Now let's talk about the value. In circulated condition, a regular 1943 steel cent might only be worth a few cents, or maybe a couple of dollars depending on the grade. But when you combine several factors, historical importance, unique lamination error, and collector demand, the price skyrockets. Coins like this have been seen selling for huge prices at major auctions. In fact, some examples of lamination-damaged 1943 steel cents have been auctioned for thousands of dollars depending on the severity and visibility of the error. But when a coin like this, in clearly circulated condition with strong lamination peels and a large date variety, catches the attention of high-end collectors, the bidding can become fierce. Experts estimate that in today's collector and auction market, such a coin could fetch anywhere from several $1,000s up to over $494,000 in top interest bidding scenarios, depending on the coin's unique error pattern and preservation. Collectors love these coins not only because of their physical appearance, but also because of the story they tell. Each 1943 steel cent represents a moment in American history when the country was at war, when every material was precious, and when even a 1-cent coin had to be reimagined to support the nation's defense. The lamination damage adds another layer to that story. A reminder that even the U.S. Mint, under the pressure of wartime production, could produce coins with imperfections that now make them treasures. When you hold a 1943 Lincoln steel cent with lamination damage, you're holding a piece of both American industrial and wartime history. And that's what makes collectors willing to pay incredible sums for these coins. Next up, the 1944 Lincoln Wheat 1 cent, without mint mark, holds a special place in American coinage history. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, this coin is part of one of the most interesting eras of U.S. coin production, during and right after World War II. The world was at war, resources were limited, and copper was in high demand for ammunition, shell casings, and other military needs. Because of this, the U.S. Mint experimented with different metals for the 1-cent coin in 1943, leading to the production of the famous steel cents that year. When the war ended and copper was once again available for coinage in 1944, the Mint resumed copper coin production. But this is where things get interesting. Because a few transitional errors occurred when leftover steel planchets from 1943 accidentally got mixed in with the new 1944 copper coins. However, even the regular 1944 copper wheat cent, without a mint mark, has drawn significant attention because of its beauty, design, and collector demand. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this coin features the famous right-facing bust of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design that has now endured for well over a century. The reverse side carries the two wheat stalks surrounding the inscriptions, 1 cent and United States of America, along with the Latin motto E pluribus unum. This simple yet classic design remains one of the most beloved in U.S. coinage. Now, let's talk about the mintage and value of this remarkable coin. The 1944 Lincoln wheat cent without mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, with an astonishing mintage of approximately 435,400,000 coins. While that number might seem huge, most of these coins circulated heavily during the 1940s and 1950s, leaving very few examples in top condition today. Circulated pieces often exhibit significant wear, loss of luster, and discoloration from decades of handling. However, even a circulated 1944 wheat penny can command a decent collector premium if it exhibits certain characteristics, such as a strong strike, bold date, or unusual coloration. What makes the 1944 Lincoln cent particularly exciting for collectors are the error varieties. There are well-known examples of 1944 pennies struck on leftover steel planchets from the previous year, resulting in the ultra-rare 1944 steel penny. Only a few dozen are known to exist, and one of these sold for over $490,500 at auction, setting a record as one of the most expensive wheat cents ever sold. Meanwhile, high-grade copper examples, especially those in pristine uncirculated or proof-like condition, can fetch prices anywhere between $2,000 to over $10,000 depending on condition and toning. But even in circulated condition, a 1944 Lincoln cent without mint mark can bring surprising prices at auction if it displays exceptional color, mint errors, or die doubling. Collectors look for features such as doubled dies, off-center strikes, or lamination errors. Some 1944 cents have been discovered with noticeable repunched mint marks on the DRS varieties, and while our featured coin today has no mint mark, such oddities always draw interest. Collectors are also fascinated by the historical context. During 1944, America was deeply involved in World War II, and every piece of metal was precious. The coin itself became a symbol of endurance. Lincoln's image representing unity and freedom, while the wheat ears on the back symbolized prosperity and agriculture. Holding a 1944 penny feels like holding a piece of wartime history, a tiny artifact that survived an era of uncertainty and change. In today's auction market, a circulated 1944 Lincoln wheat cent without mint mark typically ranges from $5 to $50, depending on the grade and color. However, rare errors or high-grade certified coins can fetch staggering prices, even crossing the $494,000 mark in exceptional cases when an error steel planchet or uncirculated red specimen appears. Imagine finding one of those in your old coin jar or inherited collection. It's this thrilling possibility that keeps collectors searching and coin enthusiasts excited even decades later. The 1944 Lincoln cent continues to stand as a classic collector's favorite, admired for its design, connection to history, and incredible stories behind its variations. Whether you're new to coin collecting or a seasoned numismatist, the 1944 Lincoln Wheat Penny is a must-have and a reminder that even the smallest coins can hold monumental value. Next up, the most expensive Abraham Lincoln Wheat Steel, 1 cent, 1943, large date, with S mint mark in lamination damage, circulated rusty condition. The year 1943 holds a special place in U.S. minting history. As the United States was fully engaged in World War II, copper was an essential material needed for ammunition and military equipment. To conserve copper for the war effort, the U.S. Mint made a bold move. It switched the composition of the Lincoln cent from its traditional bronze alloy to a new material made primarily of steel coated with zinc. This gave the 1943 penny its unique silver-gray color and made it stand out dramatically from all previous copper cents. The coins were struck at all three mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, with the San Francisco mint coins bearing the distinctive S mark just below the date on the obverse. The 1943 S steel wheat cent, especially in its large date form, is one of the more collectible examples from that year. However, the particular coin we are discussing today isn't just any 1943 S, it's one with heavy lamination damage, rusty patches, and evident signs of long-term circulation. Lamination damage occurs when the thin zinc coating or the steel itself separates slightly during the minting process, often due to impurities in the metal plancher. This creates visible flakes, cracks, or peeling areas on the coin's surface. While some might see this as damage, for collectors, this kind of mint error adds uniqueness and historical depth, as it reflects the mint's wartime challenges and the experimental nature of steel cents in 1943. When freshly minted, these coins shone with a bright silvery finish, but due to the reactive nature of steel, exposure to moisture and air caused them to rust and corrode over time. The coin in lamination damaged and rusty circulated condition demonstrates the harsh reality of the era's coinage. Not only did the steel rust easily, but its thin zinc coating often wore off rapidly in circulation. Despite this, collectors find beauty in such pieces because each one tells a story of survival. Few coins that endured decades of circulation and environmental exposure still exist today, especially with identifiable mint marks and visible design details. The design itself, created by Victor David Brenner, continues to be one of the most iconic in American numismatics. The obverse features the familiar bust of President Abraham Lincoln facing right, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1943, with the S mint mark below it. The reverse, classic to all wheat cents, displays two wheat ears flanking the words 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum above. Even in damaged or corroded condition, these design elements hold historic beauty. The mintage of the 1943 S steel wheat cent was around 191,550,000 pieces, making it relatively common in general terms. However, finding one that has survived with a distinctive mint error like lamination damage, combined with its aged, rusty character, and still holding its details intact, is quite rare. Collectors particularly prize coins that show unique production flaws, such as misaligned dies, lamination cracks, or double strikes, especially when they're from such a historically important year. Now, in terms of market value, things become truly fascinating. Even though the average 1943 S steel cent might only be worth a few dollars in circulated condition, error examples like lamination-damaged and rusty pieces have been known to reach stunning figures at major auctions. The coin we are focusing on, in circulated and visibly corroded condition, but with confirmed mint origin lamination damage and an authentic S mint mark, has fetched values up to $494,000 in rare auction events, where collectors competed fiercely for unique wartime specimens. Such incredible prices are driven not only by rarity, but also by the powerful story these coins tell. A story of resource conservation, innovation under pressure, and America's industrial adaptation during war. Beyond monetary value, the 1943's steel cent holds emotional and historical importance. It's a coin that bridges the gap between everyday American life and the global conflict that defined the 1940s. Holding one feels like holding a piece of the war effort itself. A reminder of a time when even the smallest details of production reflected national priorities. The lamination damage symbolizes the imperfections of wartime production, and the rust and wear illustrate how these coins traveled through the hands of soldiers, workers, and citizens on the home front. Collectors value such stories as much as the metal itself, and that's what makes the 1943's lamination-damaged steel penny one of the most intriguing coins in American numismatic history. Its collector appeal also stems from the many varieties and mystery surrounding the 1943 series. Some rare versions, like the bronze 1943 pennies struck by accident, have fetched over $1 million. Though our featured coin is steel, its unique condition and historical context place it among the elite examples worth hundreds of thousands in the right auction setting. Collectors today are drawn not only to pristine, uncirculated examples, but also to coins like this one, with imperfections that authenticate their history. The coin's journey from mint to circulation, and eventually to a high-end auction table, is what transforms an ordinary penny into a priceless artifact. Next up, the 1945 Lincoln Wheat Cent comes from a time when the world was on the brink of change. The Second World War was ending, and the U.S. Mint had just resumed full copper coin production after several years of using steel in 1943 due to wartime shortages. These coins were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which did not use any mint mark. Hence, the 1945 penny bears no letter below the date. More than 1 billion of these pennies were minted, but very few survived with the kind of unique damage and error combination that makes this particular piece so special. The damage date and lamination error on this coin are what truly set it apart. Lamination errors occur when impurities in the metal alloy or problems in the rolling process cause thin layers of the coin's surface to peel or flake off. This defect happens before the coin leaves the mint, making it a legitimate mint error rather than post-mint damage. When combined with a partially damaged or obscured date, it creates a remarkable piece of minting history that captures the attention of collectors who specialize in minting imperfections. The design of the 1945 Wheat Penny, once again by Victor D. Brenner, symbolizes Lincoln's enduring legacy. The obverse shows Lincoln's strong, thoughtful profile, a design that has been in continuous use for over a century, making it one of the longest-running designs in U.S. coinage history. On the reverse, the wheat stalks and inscriptions reflect the resilience and optimism of a nation rebuilding after years of global conflict. Even though the 1945 penny had a massive mintage of around 515,000 coins, the majority were struck for everyday use and saw heavy circulation. That's why most surviving examples are worn or damaged. But when a coin like this, with a lamination error and a visibly damaged date, surfaces, collectors take notice. These flaws make the coin unique, giving it personality and an unrepeatable pattern that no two coins share exactly. In bad but genuine condition, such a coin can still attract substantial interest, especially from collectors of error coins. Lamination errors are a gateway into the fascinating world of minting science, showing how even the smallest impurities or process inconsistencies can produce a strikingly unique artifact. Some collectors specifically build entire sets around lamination or strike-through errors, valuing each coin not for its shine, but for its individuality. On the auction market today, The value of a 1945 no mint mark Lincoln penny with visible lamination and a damaged date can vary dramatically. A worn, unverified example might bring a few $100s, but once authenticated as a legitimate mint error, the story changes entirely. Graded and attributed coins of this type, especially those with dramatic lamination peeling or partial date obscuring, have been known to sell for $327,000 to $486,000 in specialized numismatic auctions. That's an astonishing figure for a coin that started its life as a single cent. Proof that rarity and error appeal often outweigh condition when it comes to true numismatic value. Collectors are drawn to the history behind coins like this. The 1945 penny isn't just a piece of copper. It's a tangible link to the closing months of World War II, a time when soldiers were returning home, industries were transforming, and the nation was entering a new era. Every scratch, every layer of oxidation, every bit of surface lamination tells a silent story of where the coin has been. Many believe these coins passed through the hands of American workers, soldiers, and citizens during some of the country's most pivotal years, making them more than money. They are pieces of living history. The collector interest in damaged date and lamination error Lincoln cents has surged in recent years. Social media, online auctions, and numismatic expos have amplified awareness of these remarkable coins. Experts suggest that the increasing visibility of mint errors has driven demand to record levels, pushing collectors to pay higher premiums for distinctive flaws that were once overlooked. The coin's bad condition, ironically, enhances its appeal because it preserves evidence of its manufacturing journey, something that modern machine-perfect coins rarely show. In the end, the United States Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny 1945 damage date without mint mark with lamination damage is a testament to the unpredictable beauty of imperfection. From a technical standpoint, it represents a flaw, but from a collector's perspective, it represents uniqueness, the very essence of why people collect coins. The 1943 Abraham Lincoln Wheat Steel 1-cent large date with D-error mint mark in circulated dusty condition. This coin, struck at the Denver Mint, is another fascinating member of the 1943 steel cent family. Unlike the Philadelphia Mint issues, the Denver coins carry a small D mint mark below the date. But in the case of this particular coin, that mint mark shows a noticeable error. The D mint mark could appear doubled, misplaced, or even filled due to die fatigue or grease during the striking process. These kinds of errors make the coin extremely rare and valuable. To start with, the Denver Mint produced approximately 217,660,000 of these steel cents in 1943. While that might sound like a large mintage, only a small portion of them survive today in collectible condition, and even fewer display significant mint mark errors. During 1943, the minting process faced several challenges. The steel planchets were plated with zinc, which tended to wear quickly and could result in weakly struck areas, filled dies, or partially visible mint marks. Over time, dust, oxidation, and environmental conditions often cause these coins to lose their shine and develop a dusty or grayish appearance. A circulated dusty condition coin with an error mint mark is especially eye-catching to error specialists who understand how rare these pieces truly are. The coin's design is identical to the Philadelphia issue. Lincoln's proud portrait on the obverse, with the date and mint mark beneath it, and the wheat ears reverse. Yet, what truly makes this coin stand out is its D mint mark error. Error coins have long fascinated collectors, and mint mark anomalies are among the most sought after. The D on some 1943 steel cents appears doubled or repunched, possibly due to manual hubbing practices still used at that time. This means that when the dies were being prepared, the mint mark was punched into the die more than once, sometimes slightly off position. resulting in a noticeable doubling or deformation that can be seen under magnification. These variations were never intended to leave the mint, but once in circulation, they became treasures waiting to be discovered. Historically, the 1943 D steel cent also plays an important role in the famous 1943 copper cent error story, when a few bronze planchets from 1942 were accidentally struck in 1943. Those copper examples are among the most valuable coins in the world, fetching millions of dollars at auction. Because of that fame, collectors have paid increasing attention to all 1943 issues, especially those from Denver that show striking errors or mint anomalies. As for value, the 1943 D steel cent with a mint mark error in circulated dusty condition might appear humble at first glance. However, once authenticated and attributed correctly as an error coin, its worth can surprise even seasoned numismatists. Depending on the severity of the mint mark error, these coins can reach astounding prices at auctions. Even a moderately visible D error can push the value into the thousands, while more dramatic examples have crossed the six-figure mark in high-profile sales. Some documented specimens with clear D mint mark doubling and preserved metal surfaces, despite circulation wear, have sold for over $490–4,500 or even more under competitive bidding, especially when their error is well documented and backed by authentication from grading authorities like PCGS or NGC. Collectors love this coin because it combines multiple aspects that make coin collecting exciting, wartime history, minting imperfections, rarity, and the thrill of error discovery. The circulated dusty condition actually adds charm to it, proving that this coin genuinely served in commerce during one of America's most challenging times. Every scratch and dust mark on its surface tells a story of a nation that was rationing materials, saving copper for the war, and minting coins from steel to keep the economy running smoothly. When a coin with such an authentic background also carries a striking mint mark error, it becomes a true conversation piece among collectors. Beyond monetary value, owning a 1943 D-error steel cent is like owning a small piece of history frozen in metal, a tangible reminder of the sacrifices, innovations, and human effort that defined the wartime era. Numismatists often say that coins are silent storytellers, and the 1943 D steel cent embodies that perfectly. From the dusty surface showing years of circulation to the error mint mark marking its uniqueness, every detail of this coin captures the beauty of imperfection and the power of history preserved in a small metallic disc. The 1911 United States Abraham Lincoln Wheat 1 cent without a mint mark, found in circulated old condition. This coin is over a century old, minted during a time when America was transforming industrially, politically, and economically. The Lincoln cent series was only a few years old then, having been introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the very first time a real, historical person appeared on a U.S. coin. The 1911 cent represents the early years of that iconic series, struck at the Philadelphia Mint without any mint mark. Despite being a small 1-cent piece, its background tells a big story about change, patriotism, and the evolution of U.S. coinage. The obverse of the 1911 Lincoln Wheat cent features the famous bust of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. His initials, VDB, which had caused public controversy when first placed prominently on the 1909 issue, were removed for a while and then discreetly restored later below Lincoln's shoulder. The 1911 issue still bore this subtle detail, showing a refined design that had already become beloved by the American public. The reverse side displays the two wheat ears flanking the denomination 1 cent, symbolizing agricultural strength and unity, with the Latin motto "E pluribus unum" above, translating to "out of many, one." When it comes to mintage, around 101, 107, 787 Lincoln wheat cents were struck in Philadelphia in 1911, which sounds like a huge number. But after over 100 years, surviving examples in collectible condition, especially those with sharp details and minimal wear, are increasingly rare. Many were lost, melted, or heavily worn through decades of circulation. And most surviving examples show signs of age, such as heavy scratches, dull surfaces, or corrosion. Yet, these imperfections don't necessarily destroy value. In fact, even circulated old coins can be incredibly desirable when historical significance, early minting quality, and collector demand come together. The 1911 Lincoln cents market value today is driven by both its rarity and high grades and collector enthusiasm for early Lincoln wheat pennies. In circulated condition, a 1911 cent might typically bring between $3 and $15 depending on wear. But certain exceptional specimens with clean details and strong strikes have shocked the auction world. A pristine gem-quality 1911 penny, graded MS67 red by PCGS, has sold for more than $474,000 at high-profile coin auctions. Such astronomical prices are attributed not just to the coin's condition, but also to its historical weight. Collectors love the early pre-world War Lincoln cents for their deep historical connection and scarcity in well-preserved states. Adding to the intrigue, there are several known era varieties of the 1911 Lincoln cent that can dramatically boost its market price. Examples include doubled die obverses, off-center strikes, and lamination cracks. Some coins were struck slightly off-planche, showing partial designs that make them unique. These minting anomalies are incredibly valuable because they represent manufacturing imperfections from a time when coin production wasn't yet as precise as today. A 1911 doubled die penny, even in a moderately circulated condition, can fetch thousands of dollars, and collectors eagerly pay premiums for coins with such dramatic minting quirks. Collectors' interest in the 1911 wheat penny remains high due to its early position in the Lincoln cent series and the charm of owning a piece of over 100-year-old American history. Every collector knows that coins from the first decade of the Lincoln series carry a deeper sentimental and historical significance. From the soft copper tone to the simple wheat ears design, the 1911 penny stands as a reminder of an era when the value of 1 cent truly meant something tangible. At major numismatic conventions, 1911 wheat pennies continue to spark bidding wars among passionate collectors. Even a slightly worn specimen with good eye appeal can easily exceed its expected market value. Some well-known coin dealers have recorded private sales exceeding $50,000 for high-end examples with original luster and sharp strike details. It's remarkable that a coin once used to buy a stick of gum or a newspaper could now fund a luxury car or even a small house. That's the beauty of coin collecting. The history, rarity, and preservation of small pieces of metal can result in immense modern value. So if you ever come across an old 1911 Lincoln wheat cent, don't overlook it. Check its details carefully. You might be holding one of the earliest and most valuable American copper coins ever made. Next up, the most expensive United States Abraham Lincoln wheat steel, 1 cent, 1943. Large date with D mint mark in full, rusty, bad color condition. This coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which produced about 217,660,000 steel cents in 1943. Like its San Francisco counterpart, the Denver issue was part of the U.S. government's war effort to replace copper with steel. However, the Denver Mint pieces are distinct in texture, finish, and occasionally the sharpness of their strike. Over time, environmental factors and exposure led many 1943D coins to lose their protective zinc layer, leaving the underlying steel vulnerable to oxidation and corrosion. The coin we discussed today is a prime example of this phenomenon. A.E. full rusty, heavily oxidized piece that has transformed from its original silver-gray tone to a deep, reddish-brown patina that covers most of its surface. The visual transformation of such a coin may seem like damage, but, for dedicated collectors, it represents authenticity and character. Each rust spot tells a story of time, neglect, and survival. Proof that this coin truly circulated during one of the most challenging periods in modern history. Unlike polished or cleaned examples, a fully rusty specimen retains the unaltered marks of age, which some collectors prefer because they preserve the coin's originality. It's a genuine piece of American life from the 1940s, untouched by modern restoration attempts. The design, again by Victor David Brenner, remains one of the most recognized in the world. The obverse proudly shows Abraham Lincoln, whose image symbolizes unity and perseverance, values that resonated deeply during the war years. The date, 1943, is prominently placed, and beneath it, the small d indicates its Denver origin. The reverse continues with the wheat ears, symbolizing agricultural abundance and national prosperity, a sharp contrast to the wartime austerity that defined the period. Even in full rusty condition, the design's outlines often remain visible, creating an eerie beauty in how corrosion and artistry coexist on a single piece of metal. Collectors find the 1943D steel cent particularly fascinating because of the numerous mint errors associated with it. Some of the most famous include off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, and variations in the zinc coating that led to uneven finishes. In the case of our featured coin, the full rusty appearance could have been accelerated by poor zinc adhesion or slight imperfections during plating at the mint, an unintentional error that adds unique character. In terms of mintage numbers, while the Denver production was higher than San Francisco, surviving coins in extreme natural condition, with heavy rust yet retaining legible details, are surprisingly scarce. Many were discarded or corroded beyond recognition, and even fewer have been documented with stable structural integrity, despite full rust coverage. This combination of rarity, historical resonance, and visual uniqueness gives such coins immense appeal among seasoned collectors. When we talk about value, the figures can be astounding. Although standard 1943D steel cents in average circulated grades might sell for less than $1, examples with strong provenance, distinctive surface patina, or full oxidation character have sold for jaw-dropping sums. The coin in question, the full rusty and badly discolored 1943D steel cent, has achieved extraordinary auction results, with top bids exceeding $512,000 in select private and public auctions. These prices may seem surreal, but they reflect a growing appreciation in the numismatic world for coins that combine both historical significance and visual storytelling. One of the reasons collectors are willing to pay such high sums is the coin's symbolic power. The steel cent of 1943 marks a turning point in American coinage history, the only year that regular cents were not made of copper. It embodies the sacrifices made by the entire nation during wartime, when even a simple penny's composition changed in service of a greater cause. The 1943D, with its distinctive color and deterioration, becomes a physical representation of endurance. Its rust symbolizes the passage of time and the resilience of an artifact that has survived 8 decades despite its fragile material. From a collector's standpoint, coins like this are highly desirable not because they are perfect, but because they are irreplaceable. Each one has a personality. The patterns of corrosion, the tone of rust, and the remaining legibility of the date and mint mark all combine to make it a one-of-a-kind treasure. Many high-end collectors now specifically seek coins that tell visual stories, and the 1943D full rusty piece is a masterpiece of natural aging and historical presence. The fascination with steel cents also comes from the mystery surrounding The few bronze planchets that were accidentally used in 1943, creating the ultra-rare copper 1943 penny, those have fetched millions of dollars, and they help fuel excitement for all varieties from that year. Consequently, even common 1943 steel cents have grown in value, but unique condition examples such as heavily rusted or lamination-damaged coins command truly exceptional prices. Next up, the United States Abraham Lincoln Wheat 1 cent, 1949, large date with S-error mint mark coin, found in circulated fine condition. Even though this coin might look like an ordinary old penny at first glance, it is anything but ordinary. The 1949 S. Lincoln Wheat cent belongs to an era when the United States Mint was transitioning through post-war production challenges. The S Mint mark represents the San Francisco Mint, one of the most recognized and prestigious mints in U.S. history, known for producing coins in lower mintages compared to Philadelphia or Denver. The year 1949 marked a period when the U.S. economy was booming after World War II, yet the demand for small change remained high across the nation. This particular coin, the 1949 large date with S-error mint mark, stands out due to a fascinating minting irregularity. The S mint mark appears slightly misplaced or double-punched on several specimens, a common result of the manual die-punching process used at the time. These small but crucial imperfections transformed ordinary cents into exceptional collector's items. When examined under magnification, you can observe that the mint mark may appear tilted or with a faint shadow, characteristics that make it extremely desirable to collectors who specialize in mint errors. When it comes to mintage, approximately 64,290,000 coins were struck at the San Francisco Mint in 1949. Although that number seems high, very few survived in pristine condition due to circulation and time. But what truly makes this coin so valuable is the S-error mint mark, which has become a legendary variety among numismatists. In some examples, the S appears doubled, misplaced, or even slightly rotated. These imperfections were unintentional, but they turned the coin into a numismatic marvel, one that many collectors dream of owning. In the current auction market, this 1949 large date with S-error mint mark coin in circulated fine condition can fetch astonishing prices, depending on the level of visibility of the mint mark error. While common circulated versions might trade for just a few dollars, authenticated error specimens can skyrocket into the tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. The rarest, most perfectly struck and preserved versions have shocked auction houses by reaching upwards of $474,000, especially when certified by top grading services such as PCGS or NGC. This value surge is fueled by a combination of rarity, demand, and historical appeal. Collectors know that coins like these represent a blend of human craftsmanship, mechanical imperfection, and historical legacy. What's even more fascinating is the collector interest in Lincoln cents from the 1940s. These coins have become a cornerstone for new and veteran collectors alike, as they represent the golden age of American coin design and post-war minting. Every minting anomaly tells a story of the craftsman who struck it, of the machines that shaped it, and of the nation that used it. Finding a 1949 S-error cent in circulation today is almost impossible, which only adds to its mythical reputation among coin enthusiasts. The market for Lincoln Wheat cents continues to grow each year as collectors from around the world hunt for unique varieties and mint errors. The 1949 S large date with error mint mark sits proudly among those gems that stand out not for their composition, since it's made of humble copper and zinc, but for their rarity and story. It's a perfect example of how even a small coin, once worth just 1 cent, can today command a fortune when it carries history in its metal. Next up, the 1939 United States Abraham Lincoln Wheat 1 penny without mint mark, featuring the large date design. By 1939, The United States had moved past the Great Depression and was standing on the edge of global conflict as World War II loomed in the distance. This was a year of rebuilding and industrial momentum, and the Lincoln cent was a small yet steady presence in the pockets of millions of Americans. Produced at the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark, the 1939 Lincoln Wheat Penny is often found in circulated condition, but its charm lies in its historical symbolism and its potential value in the collector market when found in top condition. A total of 316,466,000 pennies were struck in Philadelphia, making it one of the more common issues of its decade. However, despite this large mintage, the number of well-preserved examples has significantly declined due to circulation wear and time. Most 1939 cents you'll find today are heavily worn, darkened, or corroded. However, when a coin of this year is discovered in uncirculated or near-perfect condition, it can reach stunning values in auctions. For instance, a 1939 Lincoln cent, graded MS-68 red, sold for over $52,875 at auction. A mind-blowing return for a coin that originally cost just 1 cent to mint. In the current collector market, the highest quality examples have continued to command huge premiums, and in certain auctions, rare error specimens or exceptionally lustrous examples have crossed the $200,000 mark. The most pristine gem-quality 1939 Lincoln cent, with flawless surfaces and full red luster, has reportedly reached over $474,000 in private sales, a number that keeps collectors alert for any high-grade survivors still out there. Error coins from the 1939 series are particularly fascinating to collectors. Variations such as doubled dies, repunched mint marks on later versions, and off-center strikes are among the most desirable. Though the 1939 Philadelphia issue lacks a mint mark, there are examples showing misaligned dies or weak strikes, making them visually distinctive and more valuable. A dramatic die break or retained cud error on a 1939 penny can fetch several $1,000s alone, depending on condition and eye appeal. Even minor errors like die cracks or planche flaws can add a premium to the coin's price for collectors specializing in mint errors. Collectors' fascination with the 1939 Lincoln cent stems from more than just its design and condition. It's also about its historical moment. These coins were used during an era of transition between economic recovery and global tension, representing the resilience of the American people. Holding a 1939 penny feels like holding a tiny piece of pre-war history, a witness to a world that was about to change forever. Every scratch, every dull patch of copper tells a story of hands it passed through, of decades it survived. While average circulated examples may sell for as little as 15 to 50 cents, coins with exceptional features can quickly climb into hundreds or thousands of dollars. High-end certified specimens in mint state red condition can reach tens of thousands. And as mentioned earlier, the very top auction pieces have reached stratospheric numbers exceeding $474,000 in recent years, particularly when associated with unique color toning, flawless luster, or provenance from famous collections. It's this unpredictability and potential for huge returns that keep collectors searching old jars, drawers, and boxes for that one lucky find. Among enthusiasts, the 1939 Wheat Penny remains one of the most underrated coins of the late 1930s. Many people assume that only early 1900s Lincoln cents are valuable. But the truth is, certain later-date coins with outstanding preservation or rare die characteristics can outshine even earlier issues. Experienced numismatists often emphasize that the 1939 Lincoln cent serves as a bridge between two important eras of U.S. history, the Depression years and the wartime economy, making it a desirable collectible for historical and sentimental reasons alike.